Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Today, we're going to be covering 6 accounts you absolutely need to build wealth. And if you don't have these accounts, I recommend you open each one of them today. If all your finances are in one checking account with maybe one savings account attached to it, you're not building wealth, you're just managing your bills. Think of it like your life running on a conveyor belt. Your paycheck comes in, your expenses grab it, and by the time the month ends, the money is completely gone and you're right back where you started. Wealthy people don't just make money, they organize money. They give money a job, they split money into categories that each one of them will do extremely well. They do not keep all of their money in one place because one place cannot do everything at one time. A checking account is good for paying bills, but it's terrible for building wealth. A savings account is good for protecting cash, but it's terrible for growing it. A retirement account is good for long-term compounding, but it's terrible for flexibility. And if you want financial freedom before the age of 65, then you'll have to do more. So if you want to become a millionaire, believe it or not, you don't need a bigger bank account. You need the right accounts, used the right way, in the right order, with the right automation. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 accounts that basically form the foundation of modern wealth building. And I'm not just going to name them, I'm going to show you how they work together like gears in a machine. Because when you set this up correctly, your life changes. Your stress drops, your money stops feeling random, you stop guessing, you stop hoping, you stop trying, and you start running a system that produces wealth while you just live your life. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Before I give you these accounts, you need to understand one core principle. Most people think wealth is about income. I can assure you that that is not the case. All of us know someone or have heard stories of a celebrity or entertainer or athlete that made a lot of money and still somehow they ended up broke. You can make an average income and still be wealthy if your money has a system. Think about it like fitness. You can pay for a membership at the nicest gym, take the most expensive supplements, and buy the best looking workout clothes and still never get in shape if you do not have a structured routine. Money works pretty much the exact same way. The routine is the accounts. Each account is like a muscle group. Each account has a purpose. When your accounts are set up correctly, your money flows automatically into the right places and the right things happen without you constantly thinking about it. You stop relying on willpower, you stop relying on motivation, you stop relying on memory because the system does the work for you. And this is why most people never get wealthy. They try to build wealth with willpower and income alone. They're saving whatever is left, they're investing what they can, and they're hoping the leftovers turn into a fortune. But leftovers never built a millionaire. Structure builds millionaires. And since I started my YouTube channel, I opened a joint brokerage account for myself and my fiance, and I started this account January of 2024. And I started putting money into this account in combination with 5 other accounts that I'm going to discuss in this video, and I have a little over $600,000. Now, not quite $1 million, but I'm getting very close. So if that's something that I can accomplish within 3 years time frame, then for me, that would be very good. And for you, it doesn't have to be 3 years. Maybe it'll be 5, maybe it'll be 6, maybe, it'll be 7, 10, 15, but that's not what's important. I was able to do this because I was scaling and creating passive income streams, and I'll probably be updating my income streams video for 2026 soon. But the one major factor and the reason I was able to do this is because I have a system in place. So with that said, I'm going to walk you through the 6 accounts, but I am going to tell you how to set them up and how they actually function like a system, because if you open all 6 accounts and you don't use them correctly, this changes nothing for the average person. These accounts are simply tools. However, you need to have a strategy. So let's start with the first account. The first account will be obvious. It's the one that I just mentioned. And if you want to build real wealth, you need an investing account that is not locked behind a retirement wall. Now, this is going to be the taxable brokerage account. This is the account that most people think of when they imagine investing in the stock market. But my goal is to change the way that you see this. A taxable brokerage account is not just an investing account. It is your freedom account. It is your I can quit account. It is your I can take a year off account. This is your I can switch careers without fear account. Because unlike retirement accounts, a taxable brokerage account has no contribution limits. You can invest as much money as you want, and unlike retirement accounts, you can access your money anytime that you want. There is no rule that says you cannot touch this until you're old. Now, does that mean you should withdraw from it all the time? Absolutely not. But the point is that you can. Flexibility is power. And personally, I use a taxable brokerage account like a savings account. And look, if you can work 40 hours a week for someone, you can invest $40 a week into yourself. Especially if you're in your 20s or you're in your 30s, you're gonna have major financial moves long before retirement age. You might wanna buy a house, you might wanna start a business, you might wanna have kids, you might want to invest in real estate, you might wanna move to a different state, you might wanna take sabbatical, you might wanna take care of your family, and all of these things require money. If every dollar you invest in is trapped into a retirement account, then you are building a prison with a golden lock. Yes, it will be nice when you're older, but you will be stressed and limited when you're younger. Now, a taxable brokerage account gives you the ability to build wealth and still live life. Now let's talk about that tax part, because people hear taxable and immediately they get scared. Now, a taxable brokerage account is not tax advantaged like a retirement account, and that means you owe taxes on dividends, interest, and capital gains. But here's what matters the most. Taxes are not a bad thing. Taxes actually kind of mean that you're winning, because you only pay taxes when your investments actually make money, not when they lose money. So the goal is not to avoid the brokerage account because taxes exist. The goal is to use your brokerage account intelligently. And the reason wealthy people love this account is because it gives them control. They can choose what to buy, they can choose when to sell, and they can choose how to build their portfolio. They can also choose how to create income. And most importantly, they can use it to become financially independent before retirement age. And I know investing can be scary. We've been trained to be employees. We've been trained to leave our money in the bank. And even as entrepreneurs, we've been trained to think every financial institution is somehow savvier than us when it comes to money. And I could tell you for sure that is completely false. I have an entire video that's called Turn $100 into Wealth. The goal of that video is to show you how you can make $1 million with $100 per week. I'm going to link that video right here. I do think it would be a great follow-up to you watching this. Now, here is how you set this account up. You want to open your brokerage account at a reputable firm with low fees, easy transfers, and solid customer service. Now, in the US, the names people often use are Vanguard, Fidelity, E-Trade, and Charles Schwab. But the name isn't the magic, the system is. So when you open it, you want to do three things. First, you want to connect your checking account so money can transfer easily. Second, you want to choose an investment approach that you can stick with for the long term. That means you're not trying to become a day trader. Now, I do have videos on how to become a trader. I'm going to link that video right here as well, but that's not really the purpose. That may be something that you can do with, let's say, a second brokerage account. Third, you want to automate contributions. If you wait until you feel like investing, it will never happen consistently. You need automatic transfers. This account becomes powerful when it's funded monthly like a bill, because the wealthy treat investing like that. They treat it like a bill. They pay themselves first. Now, I want to give you a real mindset shift. When you invest, you're buying your future time back. Every dollar invested is a future worker. You're sending money into the world to earn more money on your behalf. This is how you escape the trap where your income is only tied to your hours. A taxable brokerage account is the first account because it's your freedom engine, but freedom is not just about investing. Freedom is also about protecting yourself from life's punches, and that will lead us into the second account. The health savings account, or the HSA, is one of the most powerful accounts in personal finance. It's also one of the most ignored, and it makes sense why it gets ignored, right? Because it sounds boring. But the HSA is not just a medical account, it is a wealth account disguised as a medical account. Here's what an HSA does. It allows you to save money for qualified medical expenses. Now, this is the official purpose, but the secret is the tax treatment. An HSA is often described as triple tax advantaged. That means you get 3 tax benefits, which is insane when you really think about it. First, contributions can be tax deductible depending on how you contribute. Second, the money can grow tax-free when invested. And third, withdrawals are tax-free when used for qualified medical expenses. This is a very rare combination. Now let's slow down and make this practical. If you have a regular brokerage account and your investments grow, you may owe taxes on dividends and realized gains. If you have a retirement account like a 401k, you can get a tax deduction today and the growth is tax deferred, but you pay taxes later on. If you have a Roth IRA, You pay taxes today, and withdrawals later can be tax-free. The HSA is unique because it can offer the tax advantage on the front end, in the middle, and at the end. Now, the part that makes this account legendary is that many HSAs allow you to invest the money once your balance reaches a certain threshold. So instead of your money just sitting there earning almost nothing, it can be invested in broad market funds, similar to how you invest in a retirement plan. That means your health money can compound for decades. Now, let me give you a strategy that wealthy people use with HSAs. Most use an HSA like a checking account for medical expenses. They contribute, then they spend, then contribute again. Now, wealthy people treat the HSA like a long-term investment account. They contribute to the HSA, they invest it, and then when they have medical expenses, they pay out of pocket if they can, and they let the HSA keep growing. Because if you can cover your current medical costs from a regular cash flow, the HSA becomes a tax-free compounding machine. And later in life, when medical expenses are far more likely to increase, you have a huge pool of money that can be used tax-free for those expenses. Now, there are contribution limits, and they change over time. In 2026, you have a limit of $4,400 for self-coverage and $8,750 for family coverage. So be aware it's not unlimited, but it is meaningful. And if your employer contributes to your HSA, that is essentially free money. It's just like a 401k match, but for your healthcare. So you need to check with your HR department and ask whether your benefits include an HSA contribution. Because I have seen people ignore this for years and then realize they missed out on thousands of dollars of free money. Now, here is another layer that most people do not understand. After age 65, you can withdraw from an HSA for non-medical purposes without paying the additional penalty that applies to younger withdrawals. You would still pay income tax on non-medical withdrawals, but you avoid the extra penalty. So what happens is that the HSA becomes similar to an additional retirement account in your toolbox. It becomes a bucket of money that can handle healthcare expenses tax-free and also becomes flexible later. And if you use it properly, it can become one of the most powerful accounts that you own. Now, let's talk about eligibility. To contribute to an HSA, you generally need to be enrolled in an HSA-eligible high-deductible health plan. That means not everyone can open and contribute to one. So step 1 is checking your health insurance plan. Step 2 is picking a provider if your employer does not automatically set it up for you. And step 3 is contributing and investing. And the final step is keeping receipts for qualified medical expenses because in many cases, you can reimburse yourself later. That is another reason this account is so powerful. You can pay out of pocket now, keep the receipt, reimburse yourself years later if you want, effectively giving yourself a tax-free withdrawal down the road. But wealth is built by learning the rules and playing the game properly. Now, investing and healthcare are two major parts of your system, but you also need something just as important: a cash cushion that protects you from emergencies. So that takes us to account number 3. Let's talk about the financial stress that ruins people. Most people are not stressed because they're irresponsible. They're stressed because they are one surprise away from disaster. The car breaks down, the rent goes up, a medical bill shows up, a family emergency happens, a job situation changes, and suddenly their entire month will collapse. This is why the high yield savings account matters. A high yield savings account is where your emergency fund should live, not your checking, not your traditional savings account at a big bank paying you pennies. A high yield savings account is designed to pay you a higher interest rate on your cash. Now, it's not going to make you rich, but it will stop you from losing money to inflation as fast as a traditional account does. Now, here is the mindset shift. Your emergency fund is not an investment, it's insurance. It's not there to generate huge returns. It's there to prevent you from going into debt when life just happens. When you have a proper emergency fund, you stop using credit cards as your emergency funding. You stop borrowing from future you, and you stop turning every surprise into a multi-year problem. Now, you might be thinking, Steven, why do I need this if I have a brokerage account? Because your brokerage account is invested. It can go up and it can go down. It's not designed for next week's emergencies. Your emergency fund should be stable. It should be liquid. It should be safe. And that's what a high yield savings account does. Now, there are many online banks that offer them. Your job is to find one that is reputable, it's easy to use, has minimal fees. But again, the provider does not matter. The system is the magic, and you can open it, you link your checking account and create automatic transfers. Then you decide where your emergency fund target is. Some people aim for 1 month of expenses, some aim for 3 months, some aim for 6 months, some aim for 12 months depending on job stability or family situations, and of course, your risk tolerance. What matters is that you build it consistently, because when you have a solid emergency fund, your entire wealth building plan becomes more stable. I also have another video where I show you how to save $10,000 fast. Either one of those would be great. I highly recommend that you watch them to help you build your emergency fund. That way you can invest without panic, you can take calculated risk, you can avoid bad debt, and you can sleep at night. And this is why I call this the peace account. Now, we've covered the freedom account, the stealth account, the medical account. We've covered this peace account. Next, we need the account that most people have heard of, but most people do not use correctly. If you work a traditional job with benefits, your employer might offer you a 401k. And if they offer a match and you're not using it, you're turning down free money. Now, let me explain this clearly. A 401k is a retirement plan where money comes out of your paycheck and it goes into investments. In a traditional 401k, contributions reduce your taxable income today. Your investments grow tax deferred, then you pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. Now, the employer match is where this becomes a wealth accelerator. Now, if your employer matches a percentage of your contribution, that means the moment your money goes in, extra money appears. So if you contribute a certain amount and your employer matches, your return is immediate. And most people will work for decades and never maximize this. They will stress about money, chase side hustles, and ignore the easiest wealth move available to them. Now, a 401k does have annual contribution limits of $24,500 in 2026. For individuals age 50 or older, the maximum contribution is $8,000 for a total of $32,500. Employees age 60 to 63 may be eligible for a higher catch-up of $11,250 for a total of $35,750. Most people sign up for the 401k and then never look at it again. They never check what it's invested in. They never check the fees. They never check performance. They never check allocation. So they're basically driving a car with their eyes closed and hoping they end up somewhere good. This is not what we do. If you are serious about building wealth, treat your 401k like a major asset. You log in, you see where your money is invested in, you see whether the default fund is too conservative for your age. You check whether you're paying unnecessary fees. You adjust your allocation based on your timeline. And if you're younger, you typically can tolerate more volatility because you have time. Now, if you're older, you might shift towards more stability. The point is not to guess. The point is to be intentional, because a 401k is one of the biggest compounding opportunities available to the average person, especially when your employer money is involved. Now, there is another reason wealthy people love retirement accounts. They create forced consistency. The money is removed from your paycheck before you even see it. So you do not spend it, you invest automatically. And automatic investing is how you win long term. Now, the 401k is powerful, but it does have a limitation. It's built for retirement. Now, if you want tax-free flexibility and more control, you need the next account. The Roth IRA is one of the most loved accounts in personal finance, and for very good reason. A Roth IRA is an individual retirement account that you open yourself, not through an employer. With the Roth IRA, you contribute money that you already have been taxed on. So that means you do not get tax deductions on the contribution. But the benefit is that your money can grow, and qualified withdrawals in retirement can be tax-free. Now, this is huge because taxes are one of the biggest expenses that you will pay across your lifetime, and most people do not plan for their future tax situation. A Roth IRA is like building a future where the government cannot show up at the end and take a cut of your investment growth. Now, a Roth IRA does have contribution limits too. In 2026, the limit is $7,500 for individuals under 50 and $8,600 for those 50 and older. And yes, it's a smaller bucket than a 401k, but it's powerful because of that tax-free nature. Now, here is what makes it even more useful. A Roth IRA has flexibility with contributions. In many cases, you can withdraw your contributions without penalties because you already pay taxes on them. The earning portion has rules, but the contributions are more flexible. And this is why some people treat the Roth IRA as both a retirement account and a backup emergency option. Now, I want to be careful here. I do not want you to open a Roth IRA and treat it like a checking account. That would defeat the purpose. But the flexibility does give you peace of mind. You can open it at the same place that you open your taxable brokerage account. You can link your checking account, you set up automatic contributions, and you choose long-term investments that you can hold and then let compound interest do its job. The Roth IRA is the perfect partner to the 401k because it creates tax diversification. With a traditional 401k, you pay taxes later. With the Roth IRA, you pay taxes now and withdraw tax-free later on. In retirement, you can choose where to pull money from depending on your tax strategy. This is how wealthy people think. They do not just make money, they think about keeping money. Now we've covered 5 accounts that build wealth, protect wealth, and accelerate wealth. Now we have to talk about the account that almost everyone has, but almost everyone is using in the wrong way that will kill their wealth. Most people treat their checking account like their financial home. Your paycheck hits, your check goes into the account, then you pay bills out of it, you swipe your debit card, and hope you have enough left at the end of the month. This is how the average person lives, and this is not how the wealthy live. Wealthy people treat their checking account like a hallway and not a living room. Money will pass through it, but it doesn't stay. Because money sitting in a checking account is money that's doing absolutely nothing. And in an inflationary world, money doing nothing is money losing value. Checking account interest rates are extremely low, and if your checking account earns close to nothing and the prices rise over time, your money will lose purchasing power. So the biggest mistake that many people make is leaving too much money in the checking. They feel safe because they see a big balance, but they're sacrificing growth. Now, I'm not saying you should keep your checking account empty. You should have just enough to cover your bills and your normal spending. But the goal is to keep it lean and, of course, intentional, because your checking account's job is to fund the system. Your checking account is the control center where income arrives and gets distributed to your other accounts. If you set up the other accounts correctly, your checking account becomes an automation engine. And this is where your wealth system really becomes good, because you can set up automatic transfers from checking into high yield savings, into brokerage account, into your Roth IRA, into your HSA, and of course into your 401k through payroll. When those transfers happen automatically, you stop relying on discipline. You stop having to remember to build wealth. Wealth becomes the default. Now, let me give you a simple way to think about this. Now, the key is not just having these accounts. The key is connecting them. The key is automation. So last, let's talk about how to actually set this up. I want you to imagine your money like water. If you pour water into one bucket and poke holes into that bucket, then water will of course leak out. That is how people live. Money comes in, spending leaks it out, and then nothing remains. Having a system is like plumbing. Money comes through one pipe and then gets routed into different places automatically. And this is the setup. First, you earn your paycheck. Second, your 401k contribution happens through payroll before the paycheck even hits the account. Third, when your paycheck does hit the account, an automatic transfer sends money to your high yield savings account for emergencies. Fourth, an automatic transfer sends money to your Roth IRA. Fifth, an automatic transfer sends money to your taxable brokerage account. Sixth, if you have an HSA, contributions happen through payroll or often transfers. Then your HSA investment compounds. Then whatever money is remaining in your checking account is your spending money for bills and for life. And this is how you become wealthy without feeling like you're sacrificing consistently, because you are paying your future self first. Now, the most important part of this is timing. You want these transfers to happen right after payday. You don't want to wait until the end of the month because you will spend the money first. You want to automate wealth building at the beginning of the month because life expands to whatever money you leave available. That's just human nature. So you beat human nature with automation. Now let's talk about what each account should be used for so you can stop mixing purposes. Your checking account is for bills and for spending. Your high yield savings account is for emergencies and short-term planned expenses. Your HSA is for medical expenses and long-term healthcare strategy. Your 401k is for retirement and compounding your employer match. Your Roth IRA is for tax-free retirement and optional flexibility, and your brokerage account is for long-term wealth and early financial independence. If you mix these up, you get confused. When you separate them, you gain clarity, and clarity creates consistency. Now, we do have to address the big question: how do you actually fund all of these accounts? Because I can already hear someone saying, Steven, this all sounds great, but I barely have money left over. So let's talk about the real secret of wealth building. Wealth is built from margin. And margin is money left over after expenses. If you make $5,000 per month and you spend $4,900 per month, your margin is $100. That margin is what you can invest, save, and compound. Now, if you make $5,000 per month and you spend $3,500, then your margin is $1,500. That margin can change your life. So the real wealth question is not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Most people focus on income and completely ignore expenses. Wealthy people focus on both. They raise income, but they also control lifestyle inflation, because lifestyle inflation is a killer of wealth. The moment you make more money, you upgrade everything. You upgrade your car, you upgrade your apartment or your house, you upgrade clothes, you upgrade vacations, you upgrade restaurants, and then suddenly your margin stays the same. So you feel like you're not making progress and the wealth stays flat. The way to beat this is by deciding that your raises and extra income will fund these accounts first. You treat wealth building like a fixed expense. You do not wait to see what's left over. Now, if you're starting from scratch, you don't need to max out every account instantly. You build the system gradually. You can start with one account, then add another. But the point is that you commit to building the structure, because the structure is what makes wealth inevitable. Now, if you do want to learn how to make more money, I have an entire business credit playlist. You can learn how to leverage credit. You could learn how to get a side hustle. You could learn how to invest. You could learn all types of strategies about how to make more money, or you could look for a higher paying job. There are so many ways that you can make money if you're searching for it. So if what you're currently making is not enough, then just know that you do have options available. But the point is, build the system, fund the system, and then let the system run. Thank you so much for watching this video. Now, here's what I want you to do today. I want you to open up your banking app and look where your money is currently sitting. If most of your money is sitting in your checking, then you have a leak. If you have no emergency fund, you are only one problem away from debt. If you're not investing consistently, then you're relying on your job forever. And this is not meant to scare you. This is meant to wake you up. Because once you see it, you can fix it, and fixing it is not complicated. It's 30 minutes of setup followed by years of consistent autopilot. This is how wealth is actually built. Now, I want you to comment below how many of these accounts that you already have, and I want you to be honest. If you only have one or two, don't feel embarrassed, feel motivated, because now you know exactly what you need to build. And if you want me to make a follow-up video showing realistic monthly cash flow examples, like how someone can earn $4,000 per month and easily fund all these accounts without feeling strapped, tell me in the comments below. I would be more than happy to make that video next. Hit the like button if this helped you, and subscribe if you want more content that actually shows you how to build wealth. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and you have a wonderful day.